What is up, guys? It is the Sports Nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to a special day of the Sunshine State Sports Chapter, part of NGSE Sports. Guys, please remember the website is ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. Yes, I am here live. It is almost 7 p.m. here in Florida on a Sunday. Guys, the reason I didn't do my show Friday night is I had a frustrating overall day. And I have always said that if I can't give you my best show, I don't want to go on the air. So I had a pretty good weekend. I've had a pretty great weekend, actually. Hopefully, one out there has also had a great weekend. But I'm here today. This is the Sunshine State Sports Chapter. If you are new to this is an all Florida sports podcast. Guys, I have a YouTube channel. It is called the Sports Nerd Bradley Walker. Head on over there if you want to see this show and the Thursday show that we do, the Walker Report, in their entirety over there. We've been getting some good views on our Walker Report episode this past Thursday. Guys, the Sunshine State Sports Chapter is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website arenaeats.app for the ultimate fan experience at your local sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? And again, like I said, guys, welcome in on Sunday. Again, this will not happen every Sunday. This show is usually on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But today I did it at a special time because, again, I had a kind of rough Friday, and I didn't want to have what was going on outside of the show to reflect the show. I didn't want to do that to you guys, as that's not fair to you guys. Having to do that. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the show. I'm going to go ahead and start with the National Basketball Association, and I'm going to start with the Miami Heat. Let's start with the Miami Heat. Again, this is a team that is trying to recover from having a pretty rough season a year ago. But let me go ahead and give you guys some of the articles that I picked up earlier in the week for this. Also, guys, just real quick before I normally will end the show with USF football. This show, guys, I'm going to be ending the show with FSU. Yesterday was the funeral for head coach Bowden. I'm going to go through a lot of stories that I picked up on for Coach Bowden and company. And before I go any further, I want to extend my thoughts and prayers along with the rest of us at NGSC and the rest of us in the sports world, the thoughts and prayers to the families of Bobby Bowden, and also locally here to the family of Mark Cook, who was a beat writer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who passed away on Friday. I want to give a thoughts and prayers to his family. He covered the Bucs for many, many years, and we lost him too young, and again, I'll be talking about him too when we get to the Buccaneer portion of my show. I'll dive into Mark Cook. So now here's an opportunity for KZ Apopka to make his mark for the Miami Heat. Jay Crowder and Derek Jones both left in free agency, giving the 2019 second-round pick an opportunity to play. This is his time to step up and make a roster spot this year. So look for him, guys, to be one of those role players. They've also added PJ Tucker and McCreef Morris. Andre Iguodala and Trevor Ariza have left. Andre Iguodala re-signed, went back to Golden State. So they're both gone. So Tucker and Morris figure to depend on power forwards, giving Apopka the chance to come off the bench and check opposing wings. So that will be something looking forward to. They come back healthy. It's great to have a wing defender play 10 to 15 minutes off the bench during the regular season. In the 2020 Summer League, that was last year, he shot 2 for 8. And from 3, he was 5 for 18 overall against the Denver Nuggets. On a plus side, he grabbed 11 rebounds. So there you go. That's one of those guys, one of the players that the Miami Heat are going to have to lean on coming up this year. So, that'll be interesting to see what happens there with that. But then again, like I said, guys, this is a team that is trying to recover from 2 years ago being in the NBA Finals. This was a team that played the Lakers, lost in 6 games, and then last year it did not go too well. The name should fans learn the name R.J. Nebart? This is the Miami Heat played their first Vegas Summer League game last night. They beat the Nuggets largely 97-77. So here's a name that popped out very well. Another one of those players that, again, we'll probably have to win. Nebert scored 18 points to go along with his 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. He was 8 for 12 from the field and 2 for 3 from the three-point line. The 6-foot guard spent 4 years at TCU, improving in each season. His senior year, Nebert averaged 15.7 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 4 assists, while shooting 40% from the field and 33.9 from the three-point line. So another name to add to the list of people that should be watched in a Miami Heat uniform coming off the bench, because we all know that they need role players, and that's always something that they could do to add the role players. So here we are now. Miami Heat, how does this year's roster compare to the 2020 finals team? So here is how they stacked them up. This is from Fansided, and the part of this is All You Can Heat is the name of the page. 2020 point guards were Giannis Dragic and Kendrick Nunn. This year it's Kyle Lowry and Gabe Vincent. The point guards are tied, according to the article, with those two. The 2020, it was Tyler Hero and Andre Iguodala. Now it's Tyler Hero, Victor Apovido, and Max Struss. Those are the shooting guards. The strong shooting forwards are Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson. The winner of that is this year's roster. Derek Jones and KZ Apopka. Jimmy Butler, Duncan Robinson, and KZ Apopka. It's a tie between the shooting forwards, but the shooting guards go to this year's roster. Jay Crowder and Kelly Onaka and PJ Tucker and Marik Morris are the power forwards this year. The 2020 team gets the nod in that one. The centers are Bam Adebayo, Dwayne Demon, and Omar Yurtseven this year. And the 2022 roster wins. So, again, it looks like compared to a lot of things that they're comparing the 2022 roster to be a better team than the 2020 roster that went to the NBA Finals. So like I said, guys, I will continue to cover basketball. The season will be starting, I believe, in October. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I do apologize. But we'll see how that happens as we get closer to the season. Obviously, I'll be back to covering the Heat and Magic on this show. It saddens me to say that I found out the other day, in case anyone is wondering, the Bullseye podcast that me and Larry Frank did, or we're doing on Tuesday nights, is not going to happen this year. He moved back out of state, so he's not in the state of Florida anymore. And also, too, he's having some issues getting guests from USF. I'm guessing that he was trying to get Coach Scott, and that has fallen through, and they've been unable to do that. So that show will not happen, guys. I'll announce that on Facebook later on today if anyone didn't see it on here. The other basketball team I cover, guys, is obviously the Orlando Magic, who had an absolute terrible season last year. And they, too, were also in the 2020 playoffs when they lost in the first round to Milwaukee. But they are trying to, of course, like everyone else, get back on the winning track. That definitely would be something that would come to be. So Jalen Suggs shines in Orlando's Summer League opener. He had 24 points in their opener. He was the number 5 pick overall as he led the Magic to a 91-89 win over Golden State in the Orlando Summer League. So, again, he was 9 for 22, 3 for 6 from the three-point line. So he had a strong start to the – again, and then there's a lot of players, guys. Obviously, the Summer League is going on now. So a lot of these players Janice Tima, another one that who Orlando earned the rights to on a 2015 draft night trade with the Bucks. The 6'8" forward was bleach blonde hair and lime green sneakers, shot 3 for 5 from deep and finished with 11 points and 6 rebounds. Igis Verdakis added 12 points for the Warriors. There you go. So the Magic's next Summer League game will be this upcoming Wednesday, 6 p.m. against the Cavs. But again, a good start for the Magic in the Summer League. A lot of bright stars shining. Giannis Sima was one of the guys I was going to talk to about him coming off the bench with his blonde hair and stuff like that. So again, that was something right. Now, one of the questions was, did the Magic make the right choices in free agency? Guys, this is also from Fansided. This is also from the Orlando Magic's Fansided page. So here is what they said. With its lone free agent signing of Lopez, the Magic acquired a veteran big on 1 year, $5 million deal. He still serves as the third center for the Magic behind Wendell Carter and Mabad Bahamba. Lopez could very well outwork Bahamba for the number 2 center spot if he proves insurance. What the article basically says is that the Magic did okay in free agency. Again, there's not really a lot they could do. This is a team that, again, is coming off of a very, very awful season last year. And they're, again, that magic word that always seems to appear when a team does bad is the rebuild. Well, the rebuild is here for Orlando, and it's time to get into that mode of rebuilding for the Orlando Magic. So that is where they stand. Everything seems to be okay so far in the Summer League games for them. Again, just like with the Heat, I will continue to look for things about them, give you guys an update on their Summer League games and stuff like that. So then, we'll have to wait and see until the NBA season gets a little bit closer to starting up. I'm going to go ahead, guys, now and jump to the soccer part of my show. And I'm going to start with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, the local boys that are here not too far from me that play in downtown St. Pete. But they, I believe, just had a win not too long ago over Hartford, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here. Yeah, they beat Hartford the other night. Actually, the funny thing is I was supposed to do this show on Friday night, and I had in my notes to look at the leaderboard for the game. But they did get a win over Hartford the other night, so that was awesome as well. They picked up a key win here recently. I mean, all the key wins, they beat the New York Red Bulls 2 as well. They beat them 2-1. So again, guys, they are staying optimistic despite them hitting somewhat of a slump. I think you could say that they've hit some kind of a slump a little bit and all that stuff. But for the most part, let's take a look at where they stand right now. Last I checked, Pittsburgh was still ahead of them, but they now have moved. They are now tied with Pittsburgh with 33 points. Now they have 2 matches in hand. The Riverhounds have played 19 matches, where the Rowdies only played 17. Rowdies are 11-0-6 with 24 goals scored, 15 allowed. It's a +9 goal differential. So they right now are 2 points ahead of Miami FC. And they are tied with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, who have played 19 matches. They are 10 wins, 3 draws, 6 losses, 28 goals scored, 22 allowed, with a +6 goal differential there. So again, guys, they starting to get tight again. The Rowdies have got back to first place. They were out of first place for about a week or two, so they are now back in first place there. So that's good news for them as well. Let me go ahead real quick, guys, and jump to Inter Miami, which is the MLS team that plays in Miami. Inter Miami has finally hit rock bottom. So again, guys, they have actually come out of it since this. I checked the records the other day. They are no longer the worst team overall record wise. The wait is over. Inter Miami finally lifts themselves off the bottom of the MLS table as Phil Neville's side leaves it late with 95th minute winner over Nashville. So they have gotten out of the cellar for now. With a team score late on Inter Miami. So again, they have pulled themselves out of the basement in MLS. Because let me go real quick, guys. I'm going to jump to the MLS standings real quick and see where Inter Miami and also the next team I cover, Orlando City, currently stand. Orlando City has fallen to third place. Inter Miami is now in 12th. Both Cincinnati and Toronto are behind them. Cincinnati's got the same amount of points with 16. Toronto only has 15 points. And they are only 2 points shy of Chicago in the MLS East standings. So there you go with that. But as of right now, that's where they stand. They did win 2-1 over Nashville there. So again, it's going to come down to, what's going to happen. Obviously, there's going to be some shakeups in Miami. There's no doubt about that, guys. Inter Miami, there's going to be some shakeups, probably in coaches, front office. Who knows? It could be, who knows what's going to happen with them. But obviously, there's going to have to be some kind of change because the team is not, they haven't had the best year. And it's funny how they continue to, it's just not good down there right now for them. But the funny thing is that it comes down to the fact that you have obviously an opportunity to, kind of clean house if that's what you're going to do, if that's what they're going to do next year. I don't believe this team will make the MLS playoffs. I think Orlando will, but I don't believe that Inter Miami will. I don't think they will. Here is a Miami Herald article by Greg Coate. With Lionel Messi's sudden stunning move from Barcelona to Paris means what for Inter Miami? He wore a dark blue suit fit for a wake. He paused when he needed to do, which was often, as tears and sobs came back as he knew he was going to leave there. And now fans in South Florida rightly wonder, what does this all mean to us? The hope and dream that Lionel Messi might, after his run in Europe has ended, finish his career in Inter Miami in Major League Soccer. Inter Miami, after a tough first year and half in MLS, seems to finally to have found its footing and has victories and 2 draws in the past 4 matches. Messi, someday that fantasy that had begun to seem like more than a pipe dream. Messi and Barcelona reportedly had agreed to a new contract that would have put him play 5 more seasons with Barcelona in La Liga, and then a swan song 2 seasons with Inter Miami before returning to Barca in a non-playing role. It made so much sense, Messi had said. I'd like to play in the United States and experience life in a league there. This spring, he bought a $7.3 million condo in Miami Beach. He recently spent a brief holiday here after leading Argentina to the Copa America Championship, dining in a local Italian restaurant and being mobbed by adoring fans as he left. Inter Miami majority owner Jorge Mas and club president both have said they were hopeful of Messi's eventuality. Then the Barcelona-Messi deal fell apart because La Liga and the Spanish Federation said it did not meet financial fair play rights, even though Messi had agreed to make a 50% pay cut as in debt mismanaged Barcelona could not make the contract work. At the end of the way it should, it's not a fairy tale ending of a fairy tale career. Inter Miami announcer and longtime South Florida soccer icon Randy Hudson told us Monday because of the club's finances being handled with a balance of bleep giraffe on roller skates. So again, now the whole thing with Messi possibly coming to Inter Miami may be not happening. That's just not, it may not happen. That may not happen now. And of course, that was kind of the thing that he was going to come play here. Obviously, he bought a condo or a house in southern Miami to come here and play. And now maybe that's not going to happen. But again, you never know. Things have happened before. You never know with what might happen, later on. Like I was saying, guys, the other MLS team is the Orlando City Lions. And they, again, are in fourth place in the MLS standings. They are out of the top three. I think that's the first time in a while that I've seen them not there. The funny thing about them, kind of a funny article that I read earlier this week, is there was a baby that obviously ran onto the field during one of their matches, and the mother of the child was able to sneak and get the boy off of the field without any injury by a player, security guard, or anything like that. So that was kind of funny. Actually, Orlando City won that match, by the way, too. They won and had the baby on the field at the same time. So that's very, very interesting to say that. Daryl Dike is coming back to Orlando City after the Barnsley. He was loaned to Barnsley. So he's coming back. And again, it's time for the Orlando City Lion setup role players to step up as the season gets ready to conclude here, as we get ready to go into the playoffs for MLS. I think it's in the next few months, but this is the time for the Orlando City role players to step up and be that and start taking over a little bit. So again, that is that for Orlando City. Again, they will probably most likely make the postseason. The other team that I cover is the Orlando Pride. Now, that's the women's team in Orlando. And Orlando City and Orlando Pride are owned by the same people, by the way. They're same owner. They don't have different owners. They have the same owner, so they are there. Now, they won... They won 2-0 to end a 6-game winless streak for Orlando. So that's pretty good there. Now, since Mark Skinner has stepped down and Becky Burleigh has stepped in as interim head coach, this team has turned itself around a lot. They are more comfortable with Burleigh as their head coach. So ever since she has stepped up and taken the role, she was an interim head coach. He stepped up, and so far the Pride have done what they do. I believe now that the Olympics are over, they would be getting some of their players back. So count on the team getting some of their players back, as long as with all of the teams that play in the women's soccer league, all of them will be getting some of their key players back. But it's been kind of looking up since Mark Skinner stepped down and Becky Burleigh became the head coach for the Pride. So that is something to look for and watch out for as well moving forward, to see if the Pride can get back into the playoff picture and stuff like that. So, guys, again, that is my soccer news for the week. That's that. Again, I will continue to cover all these teams until they are out of it completely, or if they do make the postseason, we will have postseason talk and stuff like that. So that will be something that we can discuss. I'm going to jump now, guys, to hockey, and I'll start with the Florida Panthers. They did get Sam Reinhart signed, even though I had an article that said they were having difficulty signing him. The negotiations has happened. It has happened. They did ink him to a deal. They also signed Joe Thornton the other day as well. So that will be interesting too. They did sign Joe Thornton as well. So again, there's interesting news there. Also, too, guys, if you do not know, Miami Hurricane quarterback De'Ara King inked an NIL deal with the Florida Panthers. So he is the first collegiate athlete to ink a deal with a partnership with the Florida Panthers. Sunrise and Miami are not that far apart. So again, that's interesting that they now have a partnership with each other. So that's interesting, to say the least, that they have signed it. I was asked, actually, I was hanging out today with my best friend and my roommate. He asked me, his guy's got a Reddit page, and he talked to me, asked me about if the Florida Panthers would be a cup contender. I'm not going to disappoint my Panther fans out there. I think this team is a playoff-bound team. I don't think they have quite enough yet to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. But again, this is a team that I think everybody in the National Hockey League should be put on alert for. I mean, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, yeah, Florida has ended up being a pretty good team. They're not a bad hockey team at all. Look for them to be in the thick of it in the division with the Lightning and everybody else. I could see Florida being one of the top 3 teams with Tampa Bay and possibly Toronto, or with Boston, Florida, and Tampa Bay. And maybe Toronto could be that 4th team that you talk about. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I can tell you this right now. Count on the Florida Panthers being a team that, should be looked out for next season, because they're a very good, very, very good hockey team. The next team, obviously, is the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, this is a team that also has gone through some changes, and they're finally under the salary cap. Correct. You heard me correctly. This team is finally under the salary cap. They finally did get Ross Colton under contract. I think I mentioned that last week, but they finally got him under contract. The salary cap is steadily rising in the National Hockey League, which again helps with Sergachev and Chernak's contract as well. And head coach Sean Cooper will be coaching Canada in the Beijing Olympics. So when we have the Winter Games, he will be the coach for Team Canada that year. Also, guys, we have some good news for Lightning fans. The national anthem singer has been released from the hospital after her COVID-19 outbreak. Her husband said she'd be leaving the hospital. That is great news. If you are a Lightning fan, the name Sonia Bryson Kersey will be very common to you. She sings the national anthem, both the American and the Canadian national anthem, for all Lightning games. She got the Delta variant of the COVID-19, and guys, she has got MS. She has a underlying health condition, and she has been released, may have been released already. I picked up this article earlier this week, so she might already be out of the hospital or very close to coming out of the hospital. So that is very good news. I hope to go to some more Lightning games this year. I unfortunately will not be here for the opener. I'll be on vacation on October 12th, but I will be trying to go to some games. I know that I'm in the works of possibly going with my roommate to the Lightning Predator game in Nashville, Tennessee, outdoors, the outdoor game this year in February. I am marking that down on my calendar. I will be going to Nashville, Tennessee. It'll be the first time that I will be leaving the Eastern time zone. That's interesting, to say the least. In my 37 years, guys, I will be 38 next month, the end of the month, on the 30th of next month. I have never left the time zone, so this will be the first time, and I'm hoping, maybe being February in Tennessee, that I will see the great thing of snow. I've never seen snow either, so I'm looking forward to going to an outdoor game, seeing the Lightning, being in Tennessee, and then hopefully, maybe crossing my fingers, we'll see snow. But anyway, guys, she has been released from the hospital. Nothing really big going on with the Lightning or anything like that. Again, Ross Colton did avoid arbitration by agreeing to a 2-year deal So again, he's staying with the Lightning, and the Lightning I think are $900,000 under the cap, according to listening to Double E Eric Erlinson on 620 WDAE on Friday on the Beckles and Retro show here locally. But I would have to say that Mr. Erlinson said that they were $900,000 under the cap. Under the cap. So now they can't really sign anybody, but again, they are under the cap now. Again, this will be a brand new team next year. It's not going to be the same team. Line 3 probably will be Matthew Joseph, Ross Colton, and Yari Boulet. I think those will probably be the ones who will be line 3. So again, it'll be in kind of a different team next season. Guys, I will be doing a podcast called Legacy Battle tomorrow night. It will not be live, guys. It will be posted. And I'll send a link to that show inside the Walker Report. If it's not posted in there, I'll let the guy that is the host of that show post it in there and let you see it. I will be talking about the 2019 disaster that was the first playoff series between the Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I will be on the air tomorrow around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to do the show. So, but again, it's not live. It will be recorded, and then we will put it on. I will be interviewing Darius Kasparaitis tomorrow night, the hard-nosed defenseman for the Islanders, Rangers, and Penguins. So look out for that tomorrow night. Well, guys, let me go ahead and now, again, guys, the Sunshine State Sports Jabber is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, for all your for the ultimate fan experience. So your local favorite sports venues, Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? And let me go ahead, guys, and head to the Diamond. I'll start in Miami with the Miami Marlins to give you some updates there. Let me pull up the MLB scoreboard real quick because it is on a Sunday. Usually there's a lot of the games that are already pretty much already finished already. But let me see here. The Marlins won today, guys, 4-1 over the Chicago Cubs at home. So that's pretty good. The Marlins won 4-1 today. Let's see what the box score was for the game to kind of give you guys a little update. The Marlins had 4 runs on 9 hits, no errors. The Cubs had 1 run on 7 hits and 1 error. The Marlins are 51-67 on the season. And the Iswar Hernandez, in his return, has the Marlins actually swept the Chicago Cubs in a 3-game sweep. So that's pretty good for Miami. That's pretty awesome that they swept the Cubs over the weekend, raising their record to 51-67. Let's take a look, guys, at where they stand in the NL East. Let's see where they stand in the National League East this year. They are currently at 51-67, 14.5 games out of first place, which is currently held by the Atlanta Braves. So they're 14 games out. It's kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty to where they may not make the postseason. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm sorry, they're only 11 games out of first place. They're 14.5 games out of the wild card spot. My apologies. They're 11 games out of first place behind the Braves. They have 5-5 in their last 10. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Now they are a -9 in run differential. They have allowed 488 runs so far this season, to them only scoring 479. They are 30-27 at home, 21-40 on the road. And they're, again, that is how that is going to go so far. They have a game tomorrow at home against the Atlanta Braves, starting tomorrow night. So again, they could jump into that lead. I think maybe a sweep would put them 8 games back of Atlanta. We'll have to wait and see. Earlier this week, guys, and I guess it has been, we talked about this on the Thursday, on the Walker Report on Thursday night. Supposedly there was a Lewis Bryson, the outfielder for the Marlins, thought he heard a racial slur in Colorado when the Marlins are out there playing the Rockies. Come to find out, he was trying to yell for the mascot, not yelling that I believe the mascot's name for the Rockies is Digger. And again, if you misplay what that says, it obviously sounds like the N-word. So he thought it was a racial slur. After going back and watching the video, come to find out that was not the case. That was not what was said, and he has moved on from it. It looks like that Garrett Cooper is going to have he's recovering from Tommy John surgery, or is it John Josh Devers that is, or I'm sorry, Joe Devers. Maybe they're both recovering from injuries. Obviously, Tommy John surgery means you're out for at least 2 years before you come back. So again, it will be 2023, because you can ask the Tampa Bay Rays, the next team that I cover, about Tyler Glass now, because he's going to be out until that time. But the Rays, guys were up one time, 6 games or 5 games above the Boston Red Sox. They fell today. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Twins, losing today 5-4 in 9 innings. They came all the way back because they were down 4-1 at the time. They came all the way roaring back to get within, and the Marlins had a misplay, or the Rays misplayed a ball in the outfield by Austin Meadows, which allowed a triple to happen. And with that in mind, the player got to third base. The next player came up and nearly hit a home run, but hit a pop fly to deep right field. That was a deep enough pop out to score the runner from third base, and the Twins won 5-4. They lost 2 out of 3, but ended the road trip 6-3. They head home. I believe the Rays are playing the Baltimore Orioles tomorrow at home. Let me see where they stand. I know they're only 3 games ahead of the Boston Red Sox in the standings. So let's see where the Rays where they're at right now, where their next series begins and stuff like that. Excuse me, gentlemen. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They've lost 2 in a row. They're at a plus 113 in run differential. They are 35-22 at home, 36-25 on the road, and they will be at home tomorrow against the Baltimore Orioles. So they are at home. They have a 3-game lead on the Red Sox, which I think the Rays play later on this season at Tropicana Field. So let me check this real quick to see where they stand, what their schedule is now. They're going to be at home, guys, against the Baltimore Orioles starting tomorrow. I believe it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series. Let me check, make sure that is what is going on. I'm sorry, it's a Monday through Thursday series. It's a 4-game series against Baltimore. Then they're at home next weekend. 3-game series against the AL Central leading Chicago White Sox. So that will be interesting. Then they go back on the road again to play the Phillies for 2. Then they end up in Baltimore for 3 before coming home to play the Boston Red Sox at home to end the month of August and begin the month of September. They have a 4-game series there. Then they play the Twins again at home. Then they're on the road again to play Boston the following week. Then they play the Tigers for 3, the Blue Jays on the road, the Tigers at home, the Blue Jays at home, the Marlins at home. Then they end the month of September against the Houston Astros, which I believe is the end of the season. Nope, they have a one last series, October 1st through the 3rd, against the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. So again, they're up right now by 3 games in the division. Again, the one thing is they're getting a lot of players off injured reserve, people that have been injured, so they're trying to get some of those guys back. That will definitely help them down the stretch, and see if they can go ahead and either extend the lead to pat out the 3 games again, or to hopefully can continue to hold on to first place. If they can do that, we will again wait and see how that all goes down. But again, they leave, even though they've lost 2 games in a row, they still have a 3 games lead in the AL East over the Red Sox at the current moment. So congratulations, the Rays are back in first place. For all my Rays fans out there, that's pretty good. I'll move to the National Football League now. And the Jacksonville Jaguars actually, I believe, had a win last night in their preseason. Of course, that featured one Trevor Lawrence, one Urban Meyer as the head coach. They lost. I'm sorry, I apologize. They lost 23-13 last night to the Cleveland Browns. But so far, from what I read today, that it was a very, very good start for Trevor Lawrence. Urban Meyer was very, very happy with what he saw. Now the Jaguars are shopping C.J. Henderson. They're trying to trade him as we speak. The Jaguars do not need to have any drama with what happened with Jalen Ramsey and stuff like that. And Tim Tebow is a long way away from making the team. Now, again, I talked to people over the weekend about this. Just because Tebow signed a contract, everyone thinks, oh, no, he's going to play. He has to make the team. Let me see if there's any news about him real quick, guys, because, again, he's one of the big fan favorites in there. So let's see if there's anything right there. Tim Tebow gets ripped on social media following an embarrassing block attempt last night against the Cleveland Browns. So, again, if that's what's going on, it's going to be interesting to see if he does make the Jaguars roster. Again, there's still 2 preseason games left. I think they have to have the rosters down, though. I think by Friday of this week coming up, the rosters have to be down to a specific number. So let's see if Tim Tebow makes the cut, when the first cuts are made. But everything seems to be progressing pretty well for Trevor Lawrence and company like that. So congratulations to that and them. Even though the Jaguars lost, but again, guys, preseason does not mean anything. A team can go 0-3 and win and have a great year. A team can go 3-0 in preseason and lose a lot of games. So it just depends on that. Again, like I've mentioned, I think the Jaguars will probably be a 4 or 5, 6 win team this year. It'll be a lot better than the 1 win they had last year, where they won the first week of the season and then went on a 15-game losing streak or a 14-game losing streak after that to finish the season 1-15. So again, let's see how the C.J. Henderson ordeal works out for them. What's going to happen with Tim Tebow? But Trevor Lawrence looked very good in his pro debut. I know I saw some sacks. I saw some highlights last night on ESPN late at night. The offensive line's definitely going to have to help. You got a rookie quarterback. You can't have him on the ground all the time. So they're going to have to very much fix that scenario and stuff like that. So we'll have to wait and see as we go again into the next game for the Jaguars. Their preseason game is next. The next team I cover, guys, is the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins also had a preseason game. Let me go in here and see what the scoreboard was for the preseason games. Let's see what we got here and how the so here is preseason week 1. The only 2 teams that will play 4 preseason games this year will be the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers, because they played in the Hall of Fame game. So The Dolphins lost to the Chicago Bears 20-13. That was also last night as well. Actually, see the Jaguars, Dolphins, and Buccaneers all played on Saturday night. So they all lost. I'm sorry. Yes, correct. They all played on Saturday night and lost here. With the Miami Dolphins, guys, it comes down to let's see here. They're going to need. They're obviously the one thing that they need is they're going to have a deep wide receiver core. That's definitely going to help them have a successful season. Jalen Waddle shined in the practices with the Cincinnati Bengals. So that's good news pointing there. Again, this is a young team. They're going to have to be given a chance. Brian Flores has them going in the right direction in Miami and stuff like that. So, don't be surprised on that. Now, we're going to rank the biggest. Now, here's the biggest concerns for each AFC East team in 2020. I'm not going to bore you guys with the Bills, Patriots, and Jets. I just want to talk about the Miami Dolphins. So here is the biggest concern for the Dolphins entering this season. Any criticism of quarterbacks in South Florida has been treason. But let's deal with reality for once. Tua Tagovailoa has played better. It has to start with his third down conversion rate. He must improve on ranking of the 31st in yards per pass thrown. You can't live on checkdowns in the National Football League. Yards per completion were 5.6 for Tua compared to 6.8 when Ryan Fitzpatrick was in the game. It's going to overlook the fact that it might be difficult to following a team-building plan of Miami decision makers. They spent more than $40 million in signing bonuses on certain players in 1 year. They sent them away as part of a house-cleaning plan the next. Drafted one Alabama player, Tua, with injury and durability questions in 1 year. And then they played with house money. And I think my light just fell. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Sorry, guys. One of my lights just fell off of my table there. Let me go ahead and finish up real quick. So, again, that seems to be the biggest thing is you have the issues with okay, cool. I actually have a backup light up here. The issues with it, guys, will end up being that Tua will be that one big question. We'll have to wait and see how that all comes out and plans out to be moving forward. We'll have to wait and see what he does this year. But that was the biggest concern, obviously, is Tua's third down, getting his third down completions better, and also getting to the point where he has more passes. You can't do the dink and dunk anymore. It does not work in the National Football League. So there is, is that for Miami in their loss. The final team, guys, is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. They also fell last night to the Cincinnati Bengals 19-14. Kyle Trask had a decent game last night. The teams combined for 7 giveaways. The Bucs had 3. The Bengals had 4 in that altercation. The light didn't break because it's still working, so that's a good sign. I'm sorry, guys. My light fell off of my thing. Thank God I have another light up here. But so that's how that went. Now, let me give you some Bucs news. There's been some, obviously news on the fact with Bruce Arians and how camp has been going, and Tom Brady and all them as well. But everyone, Tom Brady did play last night. So that's interesting enough. Brady did get booed in Peyton Manning's Hall of Fame induction speech. Bruce Arians played that off as don't worry about it. Let them boo you. As everything else, when you get booed and you get negative comments towards you, always remember this: you're doing something right. So let's just say that. The sad news, guys, that I have heading in, obviously, if you were on here when the show started, Mark Cook, one of the longtime beat writers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, passed away on Friday. Jason Light, Warren Sapp, and Rondé Barber all had very, very choice words to say for Mr. Cook. Again, thoughts and prayers to his family. He died, guys, at the age of 50, way too young to be going and stuff like that. But he was with Pewter Report, one of the Bucks' big online resources and stuff like that. Obviously, guys, if you're a Bucks fan, you know all about Pewter Report. That's the way, it's a pretty good way of looking at things. But it's very, very sad when you lose a guy like that and stuff like that. So, again, thoughts and prayers to him and his family on their loss. Joe Tryon was talking with former Super Bowl champion Simeon Rice in practice. That's got to be a good sign that you're seeing a rookie being kind of talked to by a very good player in Simeon Rice. So there is that, guy. So that is my NFL news. I'm going to go ahead, guys, and as I always do, I always finish my show with the college kids. I'm going to start, guys, down in Coral Gables, the University of Miami, the Miami Hurricanes. Coming into camp, Manny Diaz has something good going for him. He has depth on his roster, DEPTH. I pronounced it incorrectly. Promised incorrect with that, but they are they've finally got that squared away, and it's good to have. They again will begin their season against the Alabama Crimson Tide, the defending national champions at that time. So again, that's where they're going to start their season. Edgerrin James is the first Miami Hurricanes running back in the National Football League Hall of Fame. He had a great speech as well. So again, he was with the Miami Hurricanes. And again, like I mentioned earlier, De'Ara King, the quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes, inked a NIL deal with the Florida Panthers during my hockey talk. If you missed that part, De'Ara King did sign a lucrative partnership with the Florida Panthers. Again, guys, Coral Gables is not far from Sunrise, where the Panthers play and where the Miami Hurricanes call home. So then again, that is interesting to say the least. And again, I think this team could be one of the top teams in the ACC this year. I think they are going to fly under the radar. But I think what's going to end up happening is they are going to be a very good team to have to reckon with in the ACC this year. Now, normally, guys, I would go to Tallahassee, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to end the show with them. I'm going to go to Gainesville instead and talk about the Florida Gators. They got a new practice facility, which, again, is supposed to be another big thing in recruiting. Obviously, that would be something that could help with that, so we'll have to wait and see on that. Tim Brewster is demanding tight end role. Again, when you lose Kyle Pitts, obviously you got to make sure that role is solidified. Emory Jones obviously is your quarterback. Like I said, and I think I've said this, and as we get closer to the season, we're right around the corner. We're only a couple weeks away from the college football season starting up. I have Florida losing just 2 games this year. People are going to hate me when I say this, but I believe they will lose to Alabama and Georgia this year. I cannot see they could beat Georgia, yes. Alabama, I don't believe they will have. They might have a legitimate shot at beating them. We'll have to wait and see. You might have Vontrell Miller, Mohamed Debate, DeJuan Black, Scooby Williams all on the field at the same time at the linebacker position. That definitely will help the Gators defense. That defense is going to have to be obviously better this year than it was last year because the team was scoring 42 points per game. That average will go way down when you lose Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, and Devarius Toney. You're not going to have that. So they're going to have to – defense is going to have to step up and be a bigger role for the Gators for this year if they're going to win win 10 games this year. We'll have to wait and see how that goes down. But again, we're just a couple weeks away from the college football season starting. I mean, you all got to get excited when football rolls around. It's good to see college or preseason back, and then the high school football will be back. Actually, guys, I'm going to be attending a high school football game in the next couple of weeks. I'm going back to my alumni, Gibbs High School in St. Petersburg, Florida, to watch them play the Northeast Vikings. I'm going with my aunt who graduated from Northeast. So I'm sure that my mom, who, again, if you do not know, I lost my mom to a heart attack in January of this year. She would be smiling up in heaven knowing that me and my aunt are going to a high school football game where my team, the Gladiators, were taking on their team, the Northeast Vikings. So that's pretty freaking cool. But anyway, guys, look for the Gators. Again, like I said, I think it's going to come down to, if the defense can work it out and everything else that's going on. So, we'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. But again, I will keep you in track in case anything breaks with the Gators. The next team, guys, is the boys in Orlando, the UCF Golden Knights. They're the next team that is on the docket. Obviously, they have new stadium naming rights. So their stadium has been named. They call it the Bounce House because the stadium relatively really does bounce. Okay, seriously, I've never been there myself, but it does bounce. They will be hosting the Honolulu Bowl this year in 2021. They have already been given the rights that it will be hosted in Orlando. Now, here we are now with their defensive scheme, could be the 3-3-5, which is basically, usually, guys, it's a 3-4 defense where you have 3 down linemen and then 4 linebackers, and then your 2 corners and your 2 safeties. This team will be a 3-3-5. So 3 down linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. So they play, basically, that's usually the nickel package. Usually you have 5 defensive backs. So Gus Malzahn is trying to implement a new era in UCF football. Again, this will be the year. We'll have to wait and see how it all goes down this year for UCF under a new head coach and everything else. And speaking of new head coaches, and speaking of trying to get a fresh start, the boys in Tampa, the USF Bulls, guys, I just wrote an article for this great network, NGSC, over the weekend, and I am hoping to get press credentials to the USF Bulls again this season. If so, my first game, as I mentioned many times on this show and on the Walker Report, will be on Saturday, September 11th against the Florida Gators. And it's going to be interesting because those are my 2 favorite college football teams on the same field. I will get to see the Gators at home for the first time ever in the Swamp in November when they play the Florida State Seminoles. But speaking of USF, guys, obviously the one question that has been, as it was a lot of times last year, was the quarterback carousel. And head coach Jeff Scott says that the quarterback room is much better than it has been in years past. So he likes what he has at the quarterback position. Hopefully it will not end up being the carousel that it was a year ago, because it was an absolute problem when it was, you never knew who was going to start, who was going, and then how long they were going to be in there for, and stuff like that. So, again, it's nice to have some solidity at the quarterback position. The team is gearing up to return to the field. Obviously, they start their season on the road at NC State on September 2nd, which I believe is a Friday game. It's a Thursday game. It's a Thursday game on the road against NC State. The first 4 games that USF has, guys, is out of conference. NC State, Florida, FAMU, and BYU are their first 4 games of the season. 2 of those are at home. 2 of them are on the road. The road games are NC State and BYU. The home games are Florida and FAMU. The FAMU game will be a 7 p.m. kickoff on, I believe it's September 18th. Is that right? Let's see. Yes, September 18th is correct. They will be playing against FAMU, but it'll be at Raymond James Stadium. It'll be a 7 o'clock kickoff. And, of course, this is now time for the USF Bulls to produce on the football field. It's time now. This is, again, this last year only winning 1 game, and then after that having not so good year. And now this year it's time to go ahead and maybe go ahead. I would love to see this team be bowl eligible. I could see them winning 6 or 7 games this season. I think there are some teams in the AAC that they lost to last year that they can beat this year. And that's how I look at it. So we'll have to wait and see how that all breaks down going into the season. But again, they start in just a few weeks on the road on a Thursday night. I'll be watching the game. Whether I get credentials or not, I'll be watching all of the USF games and covering them. Right now, guys, it will be for NGSC. iRock Media, the other website that I write for, is currently down, and I don't know when it's going to be back up. So I'm going to specifically move my USF, Florida Gator, New England Patriot, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers season previews and game recaps and game previews to strictly NGSC until further notice. But that's where it is going to be. But again, I'm hoping USF has a bounce back season this year under second-year coach Jeff Scott. All right, guys, and then now I have arrived with the boys in Tallahassee, and the reason that I waited to do the Knowles was the recent passing of legendary head coach Bobby Bowden. He was laid to rest yesterday. There were a lot of players that came out to give their condolences to the head coach. This is a guy that died at the age of 91 of cancer. He built a Hall of Fame career and championship program from scratch. This FSU program was nothing before Bobby Bowden got to Tallahassee and basically retuned the entire program and got them on the winning track. I believe they won 2 national championships under Bobby Bowden. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that they won 2. There were a lot of coaches I saw earlier this week. Nick Saban, Dabo Sweeney, obviously, a lot of coaches stepped out of the limelight to give their condolences and all the stuff that they learned under Coach Bowden and everything like that. Thoughts and prayers again to his family on his passing. Former defensive back Marlon Roll also gave a video tribute to Bobby Bowden as well. There obviously, I will probably venture to say something will happen on the very first college game day. They'll do something to Bobby Bowden. They'll have a moment of silence or something for him. So don't be surprised if that doesn't happen. Bobby Bowden's last words to Hall of Famer Derek Brooks is saying, "Please hug your babies." This, guys, if anything, when you have death, and I lost a big part of my life, my mom, earlier this year. And I have always said this, guys, and this is something from the heart. It has nothing to do with sports in general, but let me just say this. Everybody that you love, make sure you tell them that you love them or hug them, because you don't know when that time will come when they're going to be gone and they're not going to be there to be able to allow you to do that. So don't take anything for granted. Make sure you reach out, you hug them, you tell them that you love them, because you just don't know when they're not going to be there. Before I close out the show, guys, let me give you the top 5 Bobby Bowden quotes of all time. I kind of saved this one for the end. I saw this article pop up. I'm going to give you the top 5 quotes from the coach himself. So here are those 5 right here. Don't go to the grave with life unused. The greatest mistake is to continue practicing a mistake. Discipline to me is sacrifice. It's being willing to give up something you want to do so you can better yourself. He who gets the best players usually wins. I've learned more from mistakes than from the good times. Again, guys, those are the top 5 quotes from the late Coach Bobby Bowden. And again, I'm sure when Florida State football opens up, they will be doing a tribute to him as well. So, again, thoughts and prayers to the families of Mark Cook. Thoughts and prayers to the family of Bobby Bowden. We lost 2 big icons in the Florida sports world this week. But anyway, guys, before I go, I always say this. Thank you, guys. I don't know how many people I had on here. Thank you, guys, for coming in. The show is not permanently on Sunday. I did this show today because I had a off day on Friday. This will be back on Friday next week. Come join me on Thursday night on the Walker Report. We'll be on there with Adam Mangold and Lewis Tenure. Come on over there and be ready for that show. Guys, the Sunshine State Sports Jabber is sponsored by Arena Eats. Log on to the website, arenaeats.app, for the ultimate fan experience at your favorite sports venue. Arena Eats mobile app, pre-order, express pickup, and in-seat delivery. How do you place your order? And guys, the Sunshine State Sports Jabber is part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website. It's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. Guys, I love you. Thank you for coming in with me. If there hasn't been too many people in here, that's okay with me. I still love getting up and doing this show, even though today I did it solo. Usually I have Lewis on here or I have Adam on here, but I did fly solo today on this show. So, guys, I'll be back next week on my normal Friday from 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week. But, guys, please stay safe out there. Get vaccinated if you would like to. Please get vaccinated. All the numbers seem to be going back up around the country. But until then, guys, have a good one. I love you. Peace.